There are moments in life when silence feels heavy, when your prayers echo back without answer, when blessings seem delayed, when your heart whispers, "Is Allah still pleased with me?" But the truth, my brother, my sister, is that His mercy never fades, it only changes form. Ibn Arabi once said, Allah's nearness is not proven by ease but by awakening. And so, if you see these 4 signs in your life, know, He is closer to you than ever. First sign, you feel guilt after sin. That ache in your chest, that whisper that says, "I can do better," is not shame, it's love. It is Allah protecting your heart from becoming hardened. The moment you feel pain after a mistake, it means your soul still recognizes its master. The truly lost feel nothing. Second sign, your prayers still pull you. Even when lazy, even when broken, you still find yourself whispering, "Ya Allah." You may skip, forget, delay, but something always drags you back. That pull is not habit. It's divine magnetism. The prayer that you struggle to maintain is more beloved to Allah than the prayer prayed in comfort. Third sign, trials keep returning, but you never lose faith. If hardship circles you again and again, it means He still sees something in you worth refining. Fire doesn't destroy gold, it reveals it. Every time you rise again, you are being shaped into the version of yourself that can carry what you once prayed for. Fourth sign, you find peace in remembrance. No matter how chaotic the world becomes, a single Subhanallah or Astaghfirullah brings calm to your heart. That's not coincidence. That's your soul recognizing the sound of home. When dhikr feels like medicine, it means Allah is already healing you. So if you feel distant, yet your heart still beats with longing for Him, rejoice. Distance does not mean rejection. Sometimes Allah hides His sweetness to make you seek Him with more sincerity. The Prophet said, when Allah loves a servant, He tests him, and if he remains patient, Allah draws him nearer. Close your eyes tonight and whisper, "Ya Allah, if you are pleased with me, keep my heart restless for you. Let my weakness be the rope that keeps me tied to your mercy." And as the night deepens, remember, the greatest sign of Allah's pleasure is not comfort. It's the desire to please Him even when it hurts. That desire is proof that He has not left you. He is calling you closer. When the heart feels distant, and the world begins to blur, there is something sacred about noticing the signs, the quiet ways Allah tells you, "I still love you." For those who pay attention, every breath becomes a message. That same night after hearing Ibn Arabi's words, a young man walked through the streets of Damascus, lost in thought. The lamps burned low, merchants were closing their stalls, and his soul whispered, "Am I still worthy?" He stopped near the mosque, where the old scholar's voice floated out through the evening air, soft but certain. "Those whom Allah loves," Ibn Arabi said, "He keeps restless until they return." The young man leaned against the wall, tears in his eyes. He realized the first sign had already appeared, that ache inside him was proof that Allah had not let him go. In the following days, he began to notice the others. When dawn came, even when he was tired, something inside pushed him to pray. When hardship struck, he found himself saying Alhamdulillah without thinking. And when he whispered Allah's name at night, the world around him seemed to pause, as if even creation held its breath to listen. He understood then, Allah's pleasure isn't shown through endless ease, but through endless invitations. Each trial, each delay, each tug of the heart was a knock from the divine, saying, "Come back." Weeks later, the young man returned to Ibn Arabi, trembling but smiling. "Master," he said, "I now see the signs, but how do I keep them?" Ibn Arabi placed his hand over the student's heart and whispered, "Remember him in every state, joy or pain, and he will remember you. The signs stay only in a heart that stays open." That night, the student prayed not for blessings, but for awareness. Not for ease, but for presence. And as dawn broke over the city, he finally understood, Allah's pleasure isn't something you earn, it's something you realize was never lost. Because the greatest proof that Allah is pleased with you, is that you still seek Him. Years passed, and that young student grew into a man known for his serenity, a peace so deep that people said even storms seemed to quiet around him. Travelers came from faraway lands to ask his secret, expecting tales of miracles or hidden prayers. But he would only smile and say, "It wasn't I who found peace, it was peace that found me when I stopped running from Allah." He told them of the night he stood beneath the moonlight, asking if Allah was still pleased with him. "I learned," he said softly, "that Allah's pleasure isn't shown in what He gives, but in what He allows to remain, faith. As long as your heart still turns to Him, you are chosen." One evening, a boy approached him, face full of worry. "Sir," he said, "I've sinned too much. I don't think Allah can still love me." The man knelt, his eyes kind and steady. "Do you feel regret?" he asked. "Yes," the boy whispered. "Do you still wish to change?" "I do," said the boy, tears falling. The man smiled. "Then that regret is the mercy of Allah living inside you. If He had truly abandoned you, your heart would be silent." He guided the boy to pray beside him. Together they whispered Astaghfirullah until the dawn broke. As the first light touched their faces, the boy looked up and said, "It feels lighter." The man nodded. That is the third sign, when remembrance softens what pain hardened. When your soul trembles after dhikr, know that the King Himself has looked your way. Over the years, the man continued to teach the same 4 signs. He carved them into his memory, repeating them wherever he went. When you feel guilt, He's protecting your heart. When you still pray, He's calling you closer. When you're tested, He's refining your soul. When you find peace in dhikr, He's with you already. And before his final breath, he whispered to his students, "If you ever wonder whether Allah is pleased with you, look at your heart. If it still trembles when His name is spoken, that trembling is your answer." They buried him beside the old mosque where he had first heard Ibn Arabi speak. And centuries later, when travelers passed through that city, they still said the same words, "The heart that aches for Allah is never forgotten by Him." When centuries had passed, and the names of the men were long forgotten, the truth they carried still moved quietly through the hearts of those who listened. The teaching of the 4 signs became a lantern for every believer lost in darkness. It crossed deserts, mountains, and oceans, a whisper reminding the weary that even silence from heaven is still mercy. In a faraway city, a woman who had lost everything sat alone one night, her heart heavy, her prayers dry. She had stopped asking, stopped hoping, stopped believing she was worthy of forgiveness. But then, she remembered hearing once that guilt after sin is not punishment, but protection. So she whispered just one word, Astaghfirullah. And for the first time in years, her heart trembled. That tremble, that single heartbeat of remembrance, became her sign. She cried until dawn, each tear washing away the dust that had covered her soul. By morning, she felt no miracles, no sudden blessings, only peace. But that peace was enough. Years later, she taught her children what she had learned that night. If your heart still hurts after wrong, He still loves you. If your prayer still returns to your lips, He still calls you. If your trials still soften you, He still shapes you. If your dhikr still calms you, He is still near. And when she died, those words were carved above her resting place, beneath an olive tree where light filtered through the leaves. The heart that remembers is never forgotten. So if you ever wonder whether Allah is pleased with you, look not to your comfort, but to your conscience. Listen for the ache, the pull, the peace, the stillness after prayer. For every whisper of return is His voice, calling you, gently, mercifully, endlessly, back to Him.